Hey guys, Harry here, and we're back again with another bricklaying vlog. But today we're topping off a boundary wall. So this was the wall I did a little panel of, but another gang had done the majority of the build, and I'm just topping off the last few courses of brick, and then the pillars building up to full height. With the contrasting brick on the top, as you can see from the one I'd already done in the background. I apologise for any noises coming from my puskies, but they are meowing because they're greedy and they want more food. Anyway, I've done this at 4 times speed, so that's why I don't normally speed the footage up, but obviously you can see I'm on a foot scaffold building from one side of the wall. And the foot scaffold isn't really high enough. It only reaches basically sort of just above, it only gets me almost to waist height, not even waist height really, it's more or less belly height. And it's not ideal when you're putting your wall up, quite a few course, especially with the pillars having a contrasting band above the existing tile brick on edge. So it makes them even higher, and then obviously you've got to reach the top to put a pillar top on as well. As you can see, the house that's in the background, the gable, that was from a couple of my first videos where I was on a gable doing finishing off a fourth lift. So that was, if you can see the gable in the background, the top half was mine, or the top quarter, should I say, because that's what a fourth lift is. It's like a quarter of the house, more or less. Probably less, to be fair, but anyway, so I'm but the only reason I build the pillars all in one go is because it's easier to get all the way around the wall. If you built just the straight stuff in, you won't be able to get around the back of the wall to plumb all 8 sides. The only difference I'd do here is what I normally do is rack the pillar back while I'm building this little, these little racks, these little 3 or 4 course racks. I normally rack the pillar back from the back side, so I'll build the back side of the pillar first, then the front side, which is easier, and you don't end up knocking your front side reaching around to the back. The only reason I didn't do it this time is just because I forgot to do it, how I normally do it. I'd not done this sort of topping this sort of wall off in a while. From this height, so I was just sort of getting used to building pillars again. Obviously when I'm doing the normal boundary walls, I build them as I go. With these you have to sort of build them somewhat independently. Obviously you still tie your main walls in, but where this squint panel came, we have to tie these in with wall ties since they don't work to a 45-degree angle, or we don't have specials to tie in. It'd be a lot easier if these walls worked with a special, because then you'd be able to just build it all in one go and you wouldn't have to cut all your bricks. So it's not too big of an issue, to be fair. I still tend to make good money topping these walls off. From when I'm recording this video, I got rained off on the Friday, so this is the Wednesday you're watching here, and I did Thursday on my own, and I got all the wall up to full height with the contrasting bricks on, and all the pillars with tiles on, and 2 of the panels with tiles on. I just didn't obviously get around to doing the brick and edge on top of them all. So I'd say the hardest part about these walls is the fact that you don't have a scaffold both sides. You just have a scaffold one side, which a lot of guys just refuse to do. A lot of gangs will flat out refuse to do these walls, just because they're too difficult. They're too difficult for a big gang to make money on. It's just awkward. Do you know what I mean? So I'm lucky in a sense that I'm a 1-on-1, and I've done a lot of these, and even getting 400 bricks down in a day, with my fucking delays and inconvenience with loading, it still allows me to earn a decent wage in a day. And then the tile brick on edge, it's not a bad rate for those. We get like £20 a metre for his tile brick on edge straights, and then 25 for the pillar tops. So it's one of them things, is a pillar top could take you half an hour to build, but then you've got to point it as well, so that could take you about 5-10 minutes depending on how wet the weather is. So you're not really earning much more than day work rate on topping these walls off, but it's still better than fucking nothing. You know what I mean? So it's a lot better than nothing, to be honest. So it's considering if you do the whole wall, the bottom of the wall, you can make some really good money on, and then these top ones are just a bit of a steady day, which it doesn't bother me, to be fair. I like this sort of finesse work, and I've got a lot faster over the time of building these pillars and putting this tile brick and edge on and stuff, and I've got a few strategies for doing it. I'm going to go over a couple of them today. It's something that I'm still perfecting, since a lot of the time I'm penned down for doing all these walls when it comes to red row sites. If other gangs don't need to drop and need to take them anyway, because being a small gang, you're only so fast on your own. I'm getting faster year on year, so probably in the next few years I'll probably end up getting put on more and more plots because of speed difference. That's the only thing that sort of inhibits you as a one-on-one on big sites is your speed. Basically management and the way the site programs run, they want everything up yesterday, and they want it up quick, and they want it neat, and that's the only way to do that is to have more bricklayers building at one time. So when I finally get an apprentice, whatever that may be, in the next few months to a year, whenever the opportunity arises, I'll probably be in a position to take on more plots, just because of the gang size. With having an extra trowel running in, it'll be probably a necessity, because a lot of these walls now are only lasting me, probably if I do like a standard wall like this with 4 panels in, it'll probably last me about a week, a week tops. So you need, it's not going to last you very long. You need at least another, or even sometimes if it's a small one, it might not even last me a week on my own. So with another trowel, you probably be lasting at least, might only last a few days. So a really big one. So it's one of them things that you've got to take into consideration when you are starting a gang. What site you're going to be working on, what type of houses. If the big houses like on this red row site, not the biggest type houses they do, but some of the biggest, and the fiddly for the most part. A lot of them are square, but they have front garages with canopy roofs and bays, and there's not many dog legs on these. There's a couple that have ins and outs on, but they're not too bad. So that's what you got to take into consideration when thinking about going on site or starting a gang, is who you're going to work for, and sort of what type of houses they build. Whether the type of houses they build have a lot of boundary walls on. So if you're a one-on-one, you probably want to try getting with a firm that does a lot of retaining walls, boundary walls, footings if you're so inclined. But footings they're my first choice for work. I'd take it over doing nothing, but it's not my first choice. So that's the thing you gotta consider. I've talked to a few guys who'd like to go one-on-one on sites like this, and guys who are in gangs who have been told, oh, you don't want to work on your own, you don't want to do this, but you've got so much flexibility on your own. Like this week I worked 4 days. Two days were pretty steady. Three of them days were pretty steady. I'd probably say the only day that I actually worked any sort of length of time was the Thursday when I worked on my own. I worked 5 that day, so I did office hours with an hour snap in between, bear in mind. So, I worked, 7 hours with 1 hour snap. So still only an 8-hour day, and 9 hour including your travel there and back. So it's still a relatively, regular day, but, rest of the week were really steady. I think I did 6-7 hours tops on some of the days. So I've booked in probably the same as most 3-in-1s or 2-in-1 gangs that are at regular speed, and I've done it in sort of 4 days and with working pretty steady. So that's the plus of working on your own. You're not sort of picking up the slack for another bricklayer, or you're not sort of fighting with drops. I find the biggest reason that gangs lose money. Bigger gangs, 2 and 1 plus, because I don't care who you are. 2 and 1 gang is a big gang compared to a 1 and 1 or a 1 or a single. It's still that's three men working. So that's it's still 3 men there that need a wage. So I find the biggest reason why you don't make money in bigger gangs is because of stuff slowing you down. Even if you're good trowels, there's still so many things that can stop you in a year. Weather for one, lack of material, lack of work. So your drop might not be ready. You might be waiting for scaffolds. That's one thing. When you work on your own, there's always something to do. Whether you're working solo like me sometimes, or you're working a 1-on-1, there's always something for you to get on and do. A lot of the time as well, you find bricklayers in a 2-on-1 gang paying the labourer too much, and they're not getting the gear. The labour ain't good enough to keep up with 2 of them. So I'm a big believer if your labour isn't looking after both bricklayers, as if if isn't at least loading out in front and getting gobbo for both bricklayers, it's not an efficient gang. So if you've got a labourer who can't keep up with both, it's you're paying dead money sometimes. You're sort of losing money by just not having the efficiency there. Whereas if you're 1-on-1, there's pretty much anyone can keep up with one person. Some guys are really fast, a lot faster than I am, and they need a labourer who's on the ball. But even myself, my old man, could easily look after me and without any issue. And he's got bad hips, 63, and he gets me everything I need. And I help him out from time to time, but it's not even noticeable out if me helping him. He does a lot of the the leg work when it comes to all the gear and getting what I need. So that's why I find like a 1-on-1 gang, it's easier for it to work. You'll find as well in a 1-on-1 your labourer will be happier because he's only looking after you, whereas in a 2-on-1 the labourer is pushed to his limits a lot of the time. With a 1-on-1 as well, there's less drops in a week. You know what I mean? Like a big wall or a plot could last you a week and a half, 2 weeks, a week if you're super fast, depending on how big they are. But it's still manageable. It's manageable. Whereas with 2 or 3 bricklayers, you're multiple drops in a week. You need to have multiple gear, lots of gear in a lot of locations. You've got to load out in front excessively. Whereas like a 1-on-1, you don't really need to load out in front. Apart from loading it out for like a day or 2 in front is max, which my old man does. Like even with his, with his age and not being in the fittest of health, with his injuries, he still manages to load out a day and a half, 2 days in front sometimes, without any issue. As well, what I mentioned in a couple of in any of my videos is, the old man a lot of the time has 2 snaps. So I have 1 snap, as I've outlined. I have one for an hour, but he has like another one probably about an hour and a half before I go for mine. He has like an hour, about 15-20 minutes extra, so he can get either gets whatever he wants, his drink or whatever. So a lot of the time I'm only having an hour, but he's having like an hour and half hour and 15 minutes, extra 15 minutes, half an hour extra, which you can do when you work out with 1-on-1. You don't always have to have your labourer right next to you. If he wants to do have an extra snap, or wants to go to a snap at a certain time, or go at different times to you so he can load out in front, in between, it just works a lot better, and everyone seems to be happier. I've not really met a labourer working with just one bricklayer who isn't happy, because a lot of the time if they're interested in bricklaying or they're interested in getting on the trowel, they can easily do that. And that's a great thing as well. If you take on an apprentice and you've got, and you're a 1-on-1 with a labourer, the apprentice can keep walling and learning and getting more trowel time. Whereas if you're just in a big gang, a lot of the time the apprentice ends up helping the labourer out a lot, because there's two or three bricklayers on the trowel. They haven't got time to show the apprentice because they're having to get loads of work done. So it's a better situation overall when you're just in a 1-on-1. And that's probably the title of this video is going to be why I like working 1-on-1. That's going to be the title. This next little bit of clip, I've not added it to the video yet, so I can't see it in front of me, but it's me doing the top few course, just walling overhand with the fixed brick and stuff. So next video is going to be probably more of that, me filling in, but I'll get into some more detail about tile, brick and edge, and how to get a little bit faster in it next video. So we're about the 17-minute mark. Thanks so much everyone for the support. We've hit 800 subs as I'm recording this video. Can't thank everyone enough. Just over the moon. So anyway guys, my little one's woke up, so I'm gonna have to go and sort him out. And thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment, hit the notification bell, and I'll see you in the next one.